actually Barcelona that has kind of established itself as the cocktail capital of the world, because right now there are 3 of the top 10 best bars in the world that are there, including Top Spot. So it's the first time Barcelona has had this honor.
Wow, it's about time.
Yeah,
they live up to their name.
Exactly. I mean, it's always been such a trendy, cool city. It's certainly one of my favorite European cities, Barcelona. But tell me, what is the number 1 bar in the world?
So it's called Paradiso. And it's a speakeasy style bar, so it's located behind the door of a pastrami shop, the refrigerator door of a pastrami shop. So it sounds like one of those, if you know, you go find it kind of places. But because it's the top in the world, it's funny because every time you go, there's a queue outside, so you'll never miss it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird people queuing up for pastrami, right?
Must be really good pastrami.
And really good drinks. So what's unique is that I feel like this is the fine dining experience, the fine dining equivalent of a cocktail bar, because people go and then they're dressed up to the nines, and you can tell it's a special occasion. People come from all around the world, they bring their big cameras, and the drinks are presented in such an interesting and unique way. It's not just like they put a cocktail in front of you, there's a whole presentation. Yeah, so for example, like they'll put a drink in front of you, and then the bartender claps his hands, and then the lights go out in the bar, and it's like, it's magic.
Wow.
And then they come right on a minute later, but it's about the whole theatre of it and the whole presentation of it that's part of the drinking experience as well.
I love that. Sounds like a Chinese wedding in Singapore.
Everyone gets that. Everyone has a special treatment.
Well, so it depends on what drink you order, and then it depends on how they're going to present it to you. So for me, I had a drink called Marco Polo, and it's inspired by explorations of the world.
It comes in a boat.
It comes on this like compass-like thing with a map, and then it's got like this little cracker as well, and then it tastes of saffron, because it's discovery and the spice trade and the Silk Road, and it just evokes all these different experiences from civilizations past.
Wow. So which one is the clapping one? I'm curious now. What is that called?
Well, I don't know the name, but it comes in like a shell, and then I think the lights go out, and then the shell glows, and then there's all these other aspects of the performance.
Oh my gosh.
That's quite appropriate that you got Marco Polo, given that you're a global traveler yourself, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And how was it? What's in the drink, the Marco Polo?
So I was fascinated by the menu description that said pesto, and it described it as like the mouthfeel and the texture being a little bit oily. But for me, the predominant flavor that came through was saffron. And I've never tasted saffron in a drink. You always smell it in those tiny little vials in the spice shop, and it's really expensive. But here, the flavor really comes through. So I don't know what magic they did to get that out into a cocktail.
Sounds very exotic indeed. I love it.
Listen, this drink, it's in the world's best bar. It's got saffron in it. I guess the next question is, how much does one of these things cost?
Well, you would think it's going to be a lot, right? But it's actually really reasonable compared to drinking in Singapore. So it's about 15 or 17 euro.
Oh,
which is on par with what you would pay here. So it just goes to show that Singapore's really expensive.
If you see, or if you look at it as a theatre experience with drinks,
exactly,
then it would make a lot of sense.
That's a cheap theatre ticket.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure there's one with flamenco involved as well. All right, coming up shortly, you're going to find out about some of the other top bars in Barcelona. You mentioned one being a 5-star dive bar. What exactly is that? Do you go diving? Is that...
Well, I'll tell you guys about it in a bit.
All right, hang tight.
Good times. Greatest hits. Never a dull moment with 1FM.
1FM 91.
Hello, everyone on Facebook. Thanks for joining us here this morning. This is the gorgeous Clara back from her travels. So, Clara, what else did you get up to? I like how the post, so cute. What else did you get up to in Barcelona? Wait, do you say Barcelona or Barcelona?
Just Barcelona, I think.
Did the locals say Barcelona?
Barcelona, yeah. They lisp.
I never heard that, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
In Barcelona, you don't really hear it, but apparently it's because one of their kings had a lisp, right?
Correct. So they didn't want to upset him.
Yeah, so they all spoke that way so that they will all be like the king Barcelona. He doesn't feel any different.
It's like the emperor's new clothes.
Yeah,
yes,
kind of, sort of.
Correct.
What else? I mean, we've all been to Barcelona. And I really enjoyed the architecture of Gaudi and all that. Going to the parks and the buildings. Did you get robbed?
I thankfully did not, but I was so afraid that I would. Even the tour guide was like, okay, so when we walk through the crowds, be careful, try not to get pickpocketed. But if you do, it's part of the Barcelona experience. And I was like, oh no. So just kept my stuff really close to me.
This is the thing. I honestly, I never knew about that.
If you read all your guidebooks and all that, they all tell you to be careful, especially on the main drag.
La Rambla, yes,
yeah,
correct.
that's where, the rumbling happens of your bag.
So many people told me about this. Like Singaporeans DM me on IG and people warned me before I went. So I was super paranoid. But I think that's what keeps you safe, because I guess if you're a pickpocket, you would also watch people to like observe their body language.
True.
And if you see that someone's really defensive, then you wouldn't pick them as a target.
You know what? I was blissfully unaware. I've been to Barcelona like 3 or 4 times. I've never really...
You know, because girls, we've got like the handbag and everything.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
literally had a padlock on my handbag and I had to look
that's
into like
smart.
bags that couldn't be cut as well. I was thinking of the
Yes.
straps, the material of the bag.
Yes, exactly.
Truly
Yeah.
Singaporean
Very, very.
security.
My mind went into like hyperactive mode. Like, if I were a burglar, what would I do?
And they probably saw your padlock from afar, so they stayed clear. Like, yeah, we're not going to get anything from that
I'm
girl.
always clinging on to it, but that gives me away as well.
Or-
right? You look even more touristy.
You've got something you really want to keep safe.
Oh, she's got lots of money. Or
Hey,
gold.
it's kind of monopoly money, you know. So yeah, what other fun stuff did you do?
So, you know, in Barcelona, everybody goes to the main market, right, on La Rambla, La Bucaria. I hope I'm saying that right.
Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
But, you know, it's like how in Singapore there are many hawker centres. In Barcelona, there are many markets. So you don't actually have to go to the main touristy one. And I found that actually it's a lot more chill at some of the smaller neighbourhood markets. And the prices are lower as well. Everyone wants to buy hamon. And
Yeah.
it is indeed a little bit cheaper. And people are just a little bit more chill, more willing to hand out samples.
Wait,
in
hamon
some
is
of the other
the
markets.
ham,
The
right?
ham,
Yes.
yes.
Like the prosciuttos and all that you get over there.
Yes.
So gorgeous.
It's so
Amazing.
good.
Yeah.
So I was like, should I buy a dress or should I buy hamon? And in the end, I bought like a kg of hamon, like $100
Over
of
a
hamon.
dress?
Over a dress.
Because Spanish fashion is really beautiful as well. You get the colors and the designs that you wouldn't usually get here in
I
Singapore.
mean, it is. That's true.
Yeah. So you bought Killa.
But I mean,
The belly one over the dress.
Yeah, I think you made the right choice. But you know what I love about Spanish lifestyle is everything starts later. You go out late, you party late, you eat late. It's my kind of lifestyle. It's perfect. You siesta in the day.
Yes.
It's great.
yes, I
It's
did
a
that
slower pace
actually.
of life, right?
It is. It's very chill. And then plus Barcelona's whole vibe is like it's by the ocean. And I did indeed go back to my Airbnb. So like take a nap in the afternoon, then go out in the evening for
You
drinks as we were
really
talking about
embrace the
earlier.
lifestyle.
I mean, you have to because all the good dinner places only open at 8.
So the fantastic thing is, you know, and Carol and I talked about this before you came in, and we were like, you know, you go out about 10 or 11, you think, oh my gosh, am I going to miss out? The night hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yes.
I was there like many years ago, I think in like 2007. And, I was in my clubbing phase, Friday night kind of thing. So I was with my best friend. We were doing a road trip. It was a Wednesday night. We had heard about this. My cousin-in-law had told me about this Capital, this club. It's got like 7 levels of partying and all that. We went at 10:30 because we slept. We were so tired. Woke up at 10:30. Oh my gosh, we're late for the party. And we went there. There was like no queue. There was like nobody in front of us. There was a security guard. He would just, shoot us in. And we were like, there's no one. The dance floor is literally empty.
Tourists.
Sat there and just like, let's have a drink. And then slowly at 1 a.m. suddenly like it's packed to the gills.
Oh,
We
that's
couldn't
when
even
the party
move. Yeah, the party
starts.
started.
Yeah.
And guess how long this party went on till?
Till dawn.
7 a.m.
Whoa.
Yeah.
People were leaving at 7 a.m.
That's the time I woke up today.
I was just like, wow, this is the life in Spain.
And this is weekday partying as well. They do a lot of that. I almost missed a flight from Spain because of this.
Oh.
Yeah, amazing. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic, it's a whole different kind of mindset. I
It
think.
is. The other thing that really stood out was, children, families with young children in prams and all that. They were out at 10:30, 11 on a weeknight having dinner. And I'm like, it's a school night. No, isn't it school tomorrow? Like a bit late, no? But that's just their lifestyle, as you
But
say.
even by European standards, it's a little bit unusual from the rest of the continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause,
They do things a bit differently.
Homework and...
Yeah.
No?
That's our Singaporean minds asking these questions. And like, don't they have a sleep schedule and nap times?
Yeah, so which is why it was so refreshing for me, I think for us to go there and just experience a totally different culture and way of life.
Yes, I think every time you go, right, you're reminded that life can be so different from Singapore. It doesn't have drinks don't have to cost so much.
And is it important to get things done on time, really?
No. Clearly not.
I like the idea of a siesta, It's just like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. It's all right. What else? Did you see any interesting parks and museums? Important question. Is the La Sagrada finally completed?
It still is not.
It's never going to get completed, guys. That's the charm of it. Come
Oh,
on.
they told us 2030 this time.
Yeah,
so
right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But you see, by the time they get that new facade up, right, then the other bits will start to require renovation and
Exactly.
repair.
Upgrade, upgrade,
yeah,
upgrade,
this
right?
is in perpetuity, It's going to go on for like forever. the different fronts. The
So I'll be
sides.
honest and say I did not actually know before this trip, because it was my first time to Barcelona. I did not know that the La Sagrada was not complete. And we walked up to it and then there were all these scaffolding and cranes, and I was like, oh, this kind of ruins the picture. But then the guide explained that, well,
Ruins the
it's
picture.
You were thinking pictures,
Of
right?
course.
That's the
I
only
was.
picture anyone has ever had, one with scaffolding and construction.
It's true. And then he was like, yeah, it's not complete. It's never going to be complete. And it really, I mean, on one hand, you're like, oh, but on the other hand, it really puts into perspective just how grand and ambitious Gaudi's vision was all those years ago.
I mean, he's a mastermind. He really is. He's a crazy genius, right? Not just that, but all the other buildings that he's got. It's amazing. That's why I love all the Gaudi stuff, even the parks that he has.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
love
so
the
good.
sense of fun and the disregard for like symmetry. Who cares about whether or not it's a straight line? Who cares
Yes.
if the colors don't match? I mean, there is like some coordination, but at the same time, it's just such an idea of fun and freedom.
Yes.
In all his works.
Kind of also encapsulates the city of Barcelona, I think, in many ways, right? There's so much going for it. It is a fantastic city, but there's a wild side to it, which so many people love.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, did you get into the churros? I miss the churros.
I did
the
not.
chocolate
I
churros.
did not.
Really?
I'm not into fried dessert, but people told me about it.
Is this still a thing when you go to the bars? They offer you free tapas.
Of course.
When you order your drink.
Yeah.
Did you get that free tapas?
I did not get that.
I think not so much in Barcelona, but Madrid.
Well, maybe these are the trendy bars, so they don't necessarily
need
do that,
to.
but the traditional ones
Oh,
do.
so you're saying when you ordered your drinks, there were no snacks that came along with it in Paradiso?
I mean, there was the snack that's meant to be part of your drinks presentation, but not like finger food nibblies.
Right.
Whoa, you got a snack with the drink?
Yes, and it's curated to pair with the drink. So it was this little
Oh.
cracker that was like a little bit cheesy, so it pairs well with the drink because the drink was very like refreshing, tall and refreshing, and a little
Yeah.
bit fizzy.
Because
Wow.
yeah, so some years ago, I think in certain parts of
But it's
Spain,
it's true. It's
No,
a
no.
thing
yeah,
in certain parts
you
of
order a
Spain.
drink, you
You're
get
on.
some
You're
tapas,
spot on.
yeah,
You're spot
your
on.
olives,
Yeah.
or your hams, and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Same in Italy. Yeah, aperitivo.
I mean, by the time you've had your third drink, you're full. Like
Yeah.
I can't even eat dinner anymore.
Fantastic. I wish they do it everywhere else.
So maybe is there a place in Singapore where they don't serve peanuts and chips?
Give you
and-
actual food
yeah,
instead.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, you should start one. We were just talking about entrepreneurship earlier.
We should. What would we call it?
Listen, this is the worst place to give free food with drinks. I can tell you that right now, okay? People are all just going to go there. You know what they're going to go there for. So Singapore is not the place. That's why you don't have places that do that here.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, order a drink, get free chicken rice. Ooh, yeah, now pay us $50. Yeah.
You're going to have those pastrami queues? Same thing that will happen
Oh,
here.
that is true.
All right, we're about to jump back on air. Hang tight. Clarkson, since you've been gone here on 1FM 91.3, good morning to you and welcome to the Brightside. Your hangout with Carol and Shehzad. Joined in the studio by our Straits Times travel correspondent, Clara Lock. Welcome back. I want to give you some claps and love.
Hi, it's good to be back.
It's been too long because you've been away. I mean, you're doing your job. We know you're doing your job because you're traveling. But you're always here to give us, the latest updates on what's happening around the world. And you've been in Barcelona checking out the top cocktail bars in the world, not just in Spain. And you told us earlier on that Paradiso was the number one bar in the world currently. And there's something else called a 5-star dive bar. Why is it called a 5-star dive bar? What happens there?
So the number 7 bar in the world is also in Barcelona, and it's called Two Schmucks.
Great name. Great name.
What Shehzad and myself.
That's what they are.
Basically
Exactly.
right
Where
now.
we're not the bright side, yeah.
So, while the first bar, the top ranked bar is, I would say it's the cocktail equivalent of fine dining. People get dressed up and it's a whole experience. But Two Schmucks kind of prides itself on being a lot more chill, a lot more neighborhood bar where people can just come in for a beer or come in for a casual drink. But at the same time, the service and the friendliness you get there is top notch. So what I really found unique, what I enjoyed was so Spain has this whole tapas culture, and they've also got some of these tapas equivalents of cocktails. They've got like snack size martinis. They're called snack-tinis.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, super
okay.
cute. And because I was traveling alone and I want to try all these things, but I
Yeah.
can't drink so much. So it was perfect. It was the perfect size.
How small are they?
Like shots?
Shot size?
No, not even shots, more generous than shots, about half a cocktail. So it's
Okay.
a tiny martini glass, like just a reduced version of a martini
I
glass.
love that. That's genius because then you can try a few drinks.
It's
without-
also genius from the bar, if you know what I mean. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
because you get lots of these ones. They may be a little bit cheaper, but they rack up.
Yes, they do, and it's good for the bar because they can pre-mix these cocktails and they can just
Oh,
pour it
yes.
out. So what I had was a minestrone, like a like a martini with minestrone soup.
What? Minestrone soup?
Minestrone soup, yes.
And
it-
martini. Ugh.
And it sounds strange, but I like savory cocktails. I
Okay.
feel like that makes it more exciting because the basic structure of a cocktail is like sweet and savory and a bit
Yeah.
citrusy. But when you throw that playbook out of the window, you come up with something completely different. That's where it gets really interesting for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Bloody Mary because Bloody Mary
Yes.
is tomato
Yes.
based, right? And
Correct.
minestrone is also tomato based.
Correct.
I like
So
the way they
flavors
think.
work.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
That's an interesting idea. Okay. And was this paired with food as well?
It was not with food, but they put like a pickled tomato inside instead of an
Ooh.
olive. And they said they actually make a broth of soup and then they infuse it with vermouth. So you taste these savory flavors, but at the same time it's very well balanced and it's not too strong. And it was so good. It was cold and refreshing, like a gazpacho.
Yeah. Has that inspired you to come home and try different cocktails yourself?
Well, he told me if you want to make it, you just make the soup and you infuse it. But it was like, well, it's too much effort. I just want to order
Sounds
it
like
at
a lot of
bar.
work.
Yeah.
Just make the soup.
I just love how they've thrown out the rule book when it comes to cocktails. They're just doing their own thing, coming up with something new and innovative. Very inspiring stuff.
Yeah, and another drink that I had was a curry colada. So it's a curry version of a pina colada.
What?
Oh.
Ow.
Well, coconut and curry go
but
together.
curry though, and
Yeah. So go on.
like
What's
a
the-
pineapple curry.
I was a
Yeah.
little bit like, what kind of curry? I was thinking like Indian curry, Chinese curry with all the spices, but it's more like a currywurst kind of curry.
Ah.
Yeah, so that works. And I would not order a pina colada at the bar because I always
Yeah.
feel like it's going to be very saccharin and a bit too sweet.
Right.
But then the slight savoriness of the curry kind of offsets that. So it's a little bit sweet, but it's got this interesting notes. And then it's garnished with a curry leaf. And they said it's actually been one of their best sellers that they keep on the menu.
I'm going to go to my favorite bar called High Tide on the East Coast because they do good Indian food. I'm going to order a curry and a pina colada and
Combine
take one,
it.
yeah, take a spoonful of curry and drink the pina colada straight away.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, it's your own food and cocktail pairing.
Yeah, hopefully I'll come close to what you experience in Spain.
I know you're sounding quite cynical of this whole curry colada thing. I have to say I'm probably on that. But I want to ask, so we have you've named two of you actually went to 3 bars in the
Yes.
top 10 in the world. Did they kind of live up to the expectation, the hype? I mean, when you go to the world's best bar, you must have some preconceived notions.
Yes. I think, actually, interestingly for me, the Tushmarks was my favorite among the 3 bars that I visited. And it made me think about, what people like in your favorite restaurant. Like, is it the food? Is it this amazing experience? For me, I think when you go to a bar, a lot of it is the hospitality. And that's why Tushmarks stood out because they were a lot more chill. They were a lot more, forthcoming with like, oh, hey, we're just making this. Would you like a little sample? And it's just a lot more like a place you can come again and again versus a fine dining restaurant where you would go one time and it's a really special experience, but you wouldn't keep going back.
And they tend not to be as personable, right? These fine dining places.
Well, I think they try their best to be really friendly, but because there's so many people there, their attention is going to be split among all the tourists. So I still feel like it's nicer to have what feels like your own little secret spot.
I'm all excited about the cocktails and the bars already. Where can we find out more, Clara?
Well, you can go to str.sg/travel. That's where we've got all our travel stories, Barcelona, Japan, lots of other places to check out.
You also were recently in Uzbekistan.
I
Where you
was.
bumped into our colleague Tim
Yes.
Go from
Yes.
Money FM. We got to find out about that. And that's going to be coming up in next week or so.
In a couple of weeks,
Yeah,
yes.
all right. We're going to be chatting with Clara again very soon here on the Brightside on 1FM. Thank you so much, Clara.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Remember us when you have your next drink, okay?
Of course. Cheers to that.
Times
Greatest hits.
1FM.
Are we still on Facebook?
Oh, it's on
We're still-
Facebook.
Oh, hello. Hang on. I want to say good morning to Candida, who was referring to churros as angmo yu jia gui.
It kind of is. I mean, it's fried, it's sugary.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
Instead of
What happens if I
doujiang, you
put
have
sugar
chocolate.
on youtiao?
Oh, it becomes even more delicious, I think.
And then dip it in chocolate.
Even more sinful.
Okay. The Singapore Spanish culture, they meet. And also want to say good morning to Wan Ah Loon, who just joined us on Facebook as well. Say good morning. Candida says, Spain, laid back culture, it gets completed when it gets completed. I like the idea
like
of that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
Everything
imagine,
in its time.
Can you imagine if we applied that to a radio show?
On my stories, on my deadlines.
We might be here a while.
It comes when it comes. Maybe we'll only get our pay when we complete it.
That's why they say mañana, tomorrow in Spain.
All right.
Yeah, whenever something wants to get done, mañana.
All right.
Oh.
I like that. I learned
Yeah.
a Spanish word today.
Yeah,
Hey,
mañana.
thanks so much for joining us, Clara. It's always so much fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear more stories from you, yeah? Come back soon.
For
Stop traveling.
sure.
Can we
Thank
trade
you.
places?
Good times. Greatest hits.